Hey everyone, my name is Caitlin Huffman, and today I'll be talking about appropriate email and online etiquette, which is sometimes referred to as netiquette, a combination of internet and etiquette. And hopefully with these tips and tools, you'll be able to better identify your digital identity and communicate better with others in a digital setting. Online etiquette is important because it helps set a standard to go by when communicating online that everyone can easily follow. When we use these rules, we're not only able to get our ideas across more clearly through a channel where no physical communication is seen, but also receive feedback clearly from one another, in which no face-to-face or verbal cues or tones or emotions can be seen. The first thing you should take into consideration is to be respectful. Anything said online should always be treated as if you were saying it directly to that person in real time. It is always just best to follow the simple rule of treating others how you would like to be treated. So be respectful to those you speak to online. The next tip to follow is to be accountable. Everything you say on the internet you are accountable for, even if it's lies. If you break a law online, it still counts in person, so make sure you know your rights and regulations for online communication. And don't ever directly copy someone else's work. That's called plagiarism. Not only is it good practice to look over your work before pressing submit or pressing the send button, but it's also good practice not to let your negative emotions overwhelm you and you end up taking it out on someone else unexpectedly. Do not use foul language. Sometimes the words you say can deeply impact someone, and additionally, it makes you seem like you lack any kind of self-control. Sometimes acronyms and short abbreviations might not be well known to others as they are to you, so it's best to just avoid any use of them altogether and type out full phrases and full words as you mean them to be. It's also good advice to not use any type of emojicons because you don't want to accidentally send the wrong type of message to your coworkers and those around you. When writing an email, make sure your subject field is short and to the point and it clearly defines what the contents of the message are going to be about. If you make your subject line too short or too long, it might make people think it's suspicious and they might not want to open it. Additionally, make sure your spelling and grammar is correct in the subject line as well. It is not advised to use the reply all functions on emails, especially if you just want to talk to one person, because you could accidentally send the group a message full of private information, confidential, non-consensual, and it could cause you to get in some legal issues by sharing information that was not intended or unrelevant with other people involved. There are two rules to consider when adding attachments to emails. The first rule is to make sure that you don't add multiple attachments and that they aren't very large file sizes. This can cause a very long download time if that's the case. The second thing to consider is to make sure that you ask in advance if they have the same software as you so that they can easily download the document that you have attached to the email. Just as our teachers get back to us within 1 or 2 work days, it's always wise with anybody you're emailing to respond back as quickly as possible. With personal email, it's up to you, but typically with business emails, it's wise to either do it at that day or within a couple of business days at most. It is wise to stay consistent and easy to read when you're using font for your online messages or emails. No one wants to read between different sizes of font, different types of font, or different colors of font. This can be distracting and even take away from the original message you're trying to send with your email or post. It can be a bit overwhelming if you're talking to someone and you're jumping from one topic to the next in an email or a post. So to help with this, make sure you keep your messages short and to the point. This helps in making sure you're still getting your point across, but not going on and on about something that can easily just be said in a couple of sentences. Also, make sure you talk about another topic in a separate message. When creating a username or email address, make sure you keep it professional and not childish or silly. Most companies and even schools like the traditional first and last name combination or vice versa. Also, when creating a username, use this same kind of logic because this is what your digital identity will be known as within your community. It is important when discussing information online or in an email to not waste the other person's time by adding non-valuable information. This can be in the form of images, videos, or websites that don't pertain at all to the topic you're discussing. This can also get you in trouble in a business setting by making you seem uncaring or uninterested in the current topic of discussion. There's two things to consider when using the to field in an email. The first thing is to make sure you have the right person in the to section and make sure you have their full name spelled out. If you have a nickname or a shortened version of their name, it might make you seem a bit unprofessional having someone labeled as Joey or having someone labeled as Susie Q when you could spell out their full name. Be courteous and respectful in your introductions and closing statements in any online and email settings by using salutations and closings. Some examples of salutations include greetings and dear whoever you're talking to, and some closing statements can be best wishes or best regards. If you want your coworkers or clientele to know of how they can best contact you besides email, make sure you leave your signature at the bottom of each message. Some information to include would be your name, your website or your company website, the name of your company, and your phone number. If you have any other additional information, please add that. It is important that you use proper capitalization lowercase when needed. If you do not, then you might send the wrong type of message to your receiver. For example, if you use all capitalization in your message, you might come off as angry, maybe really excited, or just yelling in general. This unintended tone can come off as rude to others when it might just be as simple as accidentally having the caps lock on. Just remember when handling negative comments to just remember that they are that. They are just words on a screen and they don't mean anything less. If you want to handle this in a professional setting, you could always contact HR about the person that sent the message. You can delete the message, block the user, or just ignore it altogether. I hope that with this new information, your online experience with communicating with others can be enhanced. Don't forget that practice is your best friend. Don't be afraid to try new things like zipping files before sending them. With these rules in place, you should be able to build better relationships with others, stay professional in the workplace, and develop interpersonal skills to use in the digital age. Thank you and have a great day.